Let's talk about the seasons in life. Clearly, if you guys can tell, I look and feel horrible, and I blame that on changing seasons. In Chicago, which is where I live. Well, I don't live in Chicago. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. I don't know. People get triggered when you say that, "Oh, you're not from Chicago, you're from the suburbs." Yes, I'm from the suburbs, but I still say Chicago sometimes. I say Chicago burbs, Chicago suburbs. There will be times where it's 70 degrees, 80 degrees, 60 degrees, and then the next week it's like 35 and 40 degrees. So it's just like that quick 30-degree temperature drop and it hits you like a rock. Not to mention, I probably attribute 70, 80% to that. The other 20%, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine yesterday. We were all playing the game. We're not really strangers, and he was sick. He was feeling horrible. I didn't really go near him. I didn't really touch him or like dap him up or anything, but I was still breathing the same air as him. So I guess that's why I got sick. And then the other 5%, I will attribute that to not turning on the AC in our house. My dad was like, "Oh, it's okay. We should just go one more night. Like, we'll be good. I'll turn the AC on next week." And yeah, that turned out to be a pretty big mistake because it was really, really cold last night, and I wasn't shivering, but I was cold. I had this hoodie on and I had a thick pair of sweatpants on, which is what I'm wearing right now. What was I going to talk about today? Oh yeah, seasons in life. I think just how quickly these seasons change, like in Illinois, right? You have your autumn, you have your spring, you have your summer, you have your winter. I feel like you have seasons in your life just like that. You have seasons in your life where you're strictly focusing on school, and then you have seasons in your life where you're focusing on finding a good job, like a corporate job. Then you have seasons in your life where you spend 6 months to a year just like going hard on a side hustle. Then you have a season in your life where you're actively putting yourself out there to find a partner, maybe someone to marry, or just you're dating around. And then you have a season in your life where you have kids, if you decide to do so ever in your life. You have kids where for like 2 3 years you're just like in the terrible twos phase, you're in the new mom phase, new dad phase. And then you have a season in your life where like your kids are like from like 5 to 10, and then you're in that phase of being the person who, or like being a father or a mother who's always giving advice, taking them to soccer games, basketball games, football games, swimming classes, jujitsu classes, and you're seeing your kids like grow up. And that's a season in your life. Point being, there are a lot of different seasons that we face in our life. Hopefully the 80 to 90 years that we'll be here on this earth, there are many seasons that we face. And I think each season brings its own pros and it brings its own cons. And those pros and cons, I feel like you're the person who will distinguish and find distinctions between what's good for you in that season and what's bad. I'm personally going to talk about my season of life that I'm in right now. The season of life that I'm in right now is just finding alone time to be with myself as much as I can to really figure out how I want to spend my life. Like, what career do I really want to build? And then I'll probably say like 20, 30% of that I'll also attribute to being around good people, as in like my friends, my partner, my family, and spending as much time with them as I can, because I know the next 4 to 5 years, when I do move out of my home, if I do potentially move somewhere in this country, it'll be very, very different. So I think at the age that I'm at the time that I'm at in my life right now, it's very interesting between this age of 20 and 25. I'm 22 right now. I think it brings its own challenges, but there's also a lot of freedom and positivity attached to it. I get to spend my day how I'd like. Obviously, after my 9 to 5 job, once I'm done with that, I am able to make podcasts. I don't really have too many big responsibilities like a mortgage, rent, property taxes, all those financial burdens. Like, I don't really have. It's literally just figuring out how I want to spend my time and do the thing that I genuinely enjoy doing. And for anyone who's out there listening to this podcast, I think it's important to identify what season of life you are in. Because if you want to be at a specific place in, let's say, 2 years or 3 years, it's important to know, hey, what season of my life am I in right now? Like, what should I really be focusing on? For me right now, for the past 250 days straight, I've been focusing on this podcast. I can put more focus into it. Of course, there's always more that we can do. But that has been the season that I'm in, is figuring out how to do a podcast, get better at the way I communicate, get better at the way I articulate my thoughts, get better with putting out more content and just staying consistent. Along with that, making videos, learning that aspect of things, meeting people within the space that I'm in. It all has its own like challenges, but that's the season of life that I'm in. It's just like I hate using this word, but like I'm in that grind phase. Like I'm in the phase of just like I have to work. I was listening to an Emma Chamberlain podcast yesterday and she was talking about the difference between like burnt out and lazy. And honestly, she didn't make me feel good about myself at all. And that's perfectly good because I really needed that. She made me realize how lazy I am, honestly, because there'd be times where I think I'm actually burnt out when in reality I'm just being lazy. Like me not wanting to get up and edit more, me not wanting to get up and like script out that video, me not wanting to like get up and go outside to get some more shots, like landscape shots, B-roll shots that I know I need to get. Like honestly, before I started this podcast, I was sitting there for like 40 minutes trying to like script out a video and it just wasn't working. So I was like, you know what, let me just get my podcast done for the day and then I'll figure out the rest of the scripting and the process. Like and I know that I'm still gonna procrastinate. So it's just interesting season of my life where I'm in like I get these creative ruts, but I'm also trying to like grind, but I'm also trying to like focus on like on my relationship and spending time with my family as much as I can. Because I know it's not gonna be like that in the coming years as like I said, I evolve and I'll go do my own thing. I'll go move out, I'll get an apartment, I'll get a house. A lot of things are to come. With this whole segment of the podcast, I guess the only thing that is really important that I should say is be mindful of the season that you're in your life. If you need to remove hanging out with people and just like strictly be by yourself, do that. If you need to like not go out and not attend those family gatherings or not attend all these like networking events or whatever and just like strictly stay at home and like apply for the jobs or like get your certifications, get your licenses and apply for that dream job that you want, that's the season of life that you're in. I just think seasons in life are very interesting because there are periods of your life that you are strictly focusing on specific things, and those should be your main priorities. And then once you grow out of that phase, or once you've attained the thing that you were looking for in that either 1 year, 2 year, 3 or 5 year period, I think seasons could be measured in like 3 to 5 years, even 1 year, up to you. But once you've attained the thing that you're looking for, you move on to the next part of your life. The next thing that I want to talk about is a book that I'd recommend everyone else read. And it's a book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Great book. I'm not sponsored by, or actually, I don't even think you can be sponsored by a book. I'm not paid to be talking about this book, but regardless, this is an incredible book, a very quick read. I think it's about 100 and what? Yeah, not even like 120 pages. Yeah, I'd say 130 pages. Um, it talks about the four agreements, and it's just like a quick wisdom book that I feel like a lot of people should read. Four very simple things, and I'm going to ruin them for you right now. So if you don't want me to ruin what the four agreements are, you could stop this podcast, go buy the book, skip past this. I don't even know how long I'll talk about this, but here are the four agreements. So if you want to leave, here's your chance. Leave, go. Okay, if you're still here, then you want to know what the four agreements are. The first agreement is to never take anything personally. The second one is to not make assumptions in your life. The third one is to always do your best. And the fourth one, I forgot. So I'm going to open up this book and look at. Oh, wow. How can I forget this one? And the fourth agreement is to be impeccable with your word. So those are the four agreements. He goes into depth about why each one is important, has about like 20, 30 pages dedicated to each agreement, I believe. No, probably like 10 to 15. If you read this book, it's four simple principles that can help us elevate our life into something just a little bit better, right? We tend to take things personally a lot. I know I've been that person in the past that loves to take things personally. I've shared stories about that over the past 250 days about how it's cost me friends, it's cost me good relationships, it's cost me a lot of things when I take things personally. Being impeccable with your word, I've also shared my struggle with, following through with the things I say I will do. I feel like I'm getting a lot better at it. but there's still struggles. There's still days where that just doesn't ring true. We love to assume things. Hey, I see this person over here. They're wearing this type of thing. They're this type of person. Hey, this person over here, they're tall, skinny, handsome. They might have everything figured out in life. They are just perfect. Or that you see someone like isolated in the corner of a library and they just have their headphones on, they're reading. Oh my gosh, that person's sad. Like why don't they have friends? Why aren't they doing more things? Whatever. Don't make assumptions. He touches on that very, very well in this book. And lastly, always do your best. That one's very self-explanatory. Whatever we do, we should try and do it to the best of our ability. Another thing that I'm trying to grasp, man, I need to work harder. I need to stop being lazy. I need to do a lot of things. Look at me. I'm being harsh on myself again. This is just me being honest. I love you guys. Or actually, you know what? I'll do one more thing. I had this Reddit question that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting. So here it goes. This is the question. I'm gonna answer it. What song will still be relevant in 200 years? And this is the I want to say it's the easiest answer because I didn't do that much thinking about it. But I went to a Coldplay concert last week in Los Angeles, and all of their songs are just so freaking good. They've had billions of streams. They've been performing them. Like obviously they've been making new ones, but they've been performing since like what 2002, 2003. I don't know. Over 20 years they've been performing. And the song that I feel like that will still be relevant in 200 years is Sky Full of Stars. Cause you're a sky full of stars. Like that one, bro. That one is going to be relevant in 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, 500 years. That's if we still have like technology and we all don't all become like AI robots or something. I think it'll still be relevant. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys think there's going to be another song or there is another song that you think will be relevant in 200 years, please let me know because I think it's a very interesting question. So that's all I really have for you guys today. Seasons in Life, the book that I feel like y'all should read, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And what song will be relevant in 200 years? I think it's going to be the song by Coldplay, is Sky Full of Stars. It's going to have like 10, 15 billion streams. Yep, I said it. Who knows? All right. Well, that's all I really have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this, if you enjoyed listening to me talk with my stiffly nose and being sick, feel free to share it with a friend, share it with someone, share it with a homeless guy. I don't really care. Also, leave me a 4 or 5 star review if you feel like this was deserving of that. I would really appreciate it. And lastly, follow me on some socials at the Career Pack Podcast. I would appreciate that a ton. And like I always say, my friends, take care. Tell someone that you love them and go do something nice for someone today because they genuinely, genuinely, genuinely deserve it. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.